Hey everyone, apologies that we got cut a little bit short there. We only had about 2 or 3 minutes to go, I just wanted to record a really short video to take you through the 7 steps to help you have a courageous conversation. First of all, thank you so much for spending the time with us this morning. It was a blast to have so much fun and so much interaction with you. Hopefully this is going to be really helpful for you to take into your practice on Monday. So first step is understand that people are having an emotional response. This is really, really normal. They have an emotional response to their injury as well as a physical response to their injury. And as I said, this is really normal. You probably had an emotional response when we finished up a little bit sooner than what we were hoping to. Hopefully it was one of frustration and waiting to see what was going to come next. It might have been gratitude and being thankful that you'd finished a little bit early, but no matter what happens, an emotional response comes into play. And when people are injured, they have often a really heightened emotional response because they can't do a lot of the stuff that they would normally do. And physically that is challenging for them, but it's also really emotionally challenging for them when they can't go and fulfill their normal roles as a parent, as a spouse, as an employee, as a leader. There's an emotional reaction that goes alongside that is happening for this person, as well as the physical challenge that they're going through. And the second step is understanding that you're not the cause of this emotional response that this person is having. They're having this emotional response because of all of the other contextual factors around their health challenge. But sometimes you might be the trigger of it. So we've all had that moment where we've been sitting in a room with someone and they've got defensive or they've got angry when we brought something up. And that's us triggering that emotional response. We're not the cause of it, but we've just knocked the top off it and people have had a go at us. Step 3 is to listen for emotion in the conversation. So we're trained to listen for clinical problems. We're trained to listen for diagnostic information, but we can also listen for emotion in the conversation. And this is usually a point where we can, if we pick it up and we look at it, that allows us to see, hey, here's a point where this person may be struggling. We might need to talk about it to address some barriers. So can you pick up fear? Can you pick up anger? Can you pick up stress, overwhelm, annoyance in the conversation that you're having with people? And it might be their tone of voice. It might be how they phrase something, or it might be them sitting there tensing up, their shoulders come up around their ears, or they're grabbing onto the chair in a protective fashion as you bring something up, and that's triggering an emotional response in them. And the good thing is most of us are paid to look at people and watch people. So that physical side of things, we should be hopefully already reasonably good at it. The fourth step is to help that person identify their emotional response. And that is where the emotional wheel is really fantastic. And even having one of those on the wall of your clinic room, or having one there almost as a talking piece for that person. Another tip around that is to use non-threatening language. So words like "you seem scared" or "you seem angry," they often trigger a defensive response in people. So softening the language and making it a little bit more non-threatening is often far more valuable. You seem frustrated. You seem a little bit worried about that. People are okay to be frustrated. They're okay to feel worried. They're less happy to feel angry, and they're less happy to feel scared. Oh, we've gone too far. All right. Step number 5. Emotions are normal, and emotions in any context are normal. Again, you're probably having some emotional response right now to what's going on around you. This is normal. And it's normal for our patients and the people that we're seeing to be having an emotional response. So validating their experience, saying, wow, that must be tough for you. I can see why you're feeling that way. Or thank you so much for sharing that you're feeling that way about this. A lot of a lot of other people that I talk to also have that emotional response or have that feeling when they're faced with a challenge like this. Or one of my favorite questions to lead into this is, look, we know that an injury causes a physical challenge for you, but it also causes an emotional challenge. How are you going with that side of things at the moment? And also understanding that when we're looking to identify and we're looking to validate, it's okay to get things wrong and it's okay to not know the answer. Most of the time, that isn't going to challenge our therapeutic relationship that we're trying to build with this person. In fact, it's going to enhance it. The fact that we've had a go at this and we're trying to help this person, and we're trying to help them remove some barriers by exploring this emotional side. And 7 is explore that reaction a little bit more deeply. You have identified it. You know that there's emotion going on. You validated it. You're okay with getting a little bit wrong. And then step in and say, hey, are you okay if we explore this? Because it might be helpful for us in terms of moving forward. And you can either do that yourself if you feel comfortable having a conversation around this, or you feel courageous enough to have a conversation around this, or they might say no, and that's okay. And you can leave it at that and hopefully have a catch up with them next time. Or you might feel they would be better served by going and talking to someone else. They might be better served by going and talking to a counselor or going to and talking to a psychologist or a social worker to discuss some of what is going on for them with this reaction. And then if that's the case, our job is then to facilitate that to happen. So we don't always need to be having these conversations. Sometimes we need to be the facilitator of them happening at a later date. So there's the 7 steps to have a courageous conversation. Hopefully they're helpful for you on Monday. And again, thank you so much from me and Heather for having a catch up and sharing some time with us this morning to talk about this really, really important topic.